Once upon a time, there was a little boy named Anders who had a new cap, a more handsome cap you'd never have seen, for Anders' mother herself had knit it, and nobody can make anything quite so special as a mother. It was red except for a small part in the middle, which was green, and that was because Anders' mother had run out of red yarn, and the tassel was blue. Anders walked around his house for a while, letting his brothers and sisters admire his new cap. Then he put his hands in his pockets and went out for a stroll, because he wanted everybody to see how fine a cap his mother had made. First person he met was a farmer walking down the road alongside a wagon loaded with wood. The farmer bowed so deeply, Anders thought he might fall over. "Well, if it isn't Anders," cried the cheerful farmer. "At first I thought you were a duke, or maybe even a prince with such a fine cap as that. Would you like to ride in my wagon?" Anders politely smiled and shook his head and walked brightly by, with his head held high. At the turn in the road he met Lars, the tanner's son. He was such a big boy, and he wore high boots and even carried a pocket knife. When he saw Anders' cap, he could not help but to stop and gape at it. He couldn't keep himself from coming up and fingering the blue tassels. "Let's trade caps," he suggested. "I'll even give you my pocket knife." But this knife was a very good one, though half of the blade was gone and the handle was a little cracked. Anders had often admired that knife, but it still did not measure up to the new cap his mother had made. "No, I don't think I could make a trade like that," he told Lars, and he nodded and went on his way. Soon he met a very old woman who curtsied until her skirts looked like balloons. My, you look like such a gentleman," she said. "I dare say you're dressed up to go to the royal ball." "Yes, why not?" thought Anders. "Seeing that I look so fine, I may as well go and visit the king." And so he did. The palace yard stood two soldiers with shining helmets and with muskets on over their shoulders. When Anders reached the gate, both muskets were leveled at him. "Where may you be going?" demanded one of the soldiers. "I'm going to the royal ball," answered Anders. "No, you are not," said the other soldier, stepping forward. "Nobody can go to the royal ball without a uniform." But at the very instant, the princess came tripping across the road. She was dressed in white silk with bows of gold ribbon. "This lad has no uniform, it's true," she told the soldier, "but he has a very fine cap on his head, and that will do just as well." She took Anders' hand and she walked him to the broad marble stairs where soldiers were posted at every third step. And through the beautiful halls, there were couriers in silk and velvet, and they stood bowing wherever he went. For no doubt, they thought him to be a prince when they saw his fine cap. At the far end of the largest ball, a table was set with gold cups and gold plates in long rows. On dishes that were piled with tarts and cakes, and red wine sparkled in shining glasses. The princess sat down at the head of the table. She let Anders sit in a golden chair by her side. But you must not eat with your cap on your head, she said, putting it out. You have to take it off your head. She put out her hand to him to take it off. Oh yes, I can eat just as well with it on, said Anders, holding tight to the cap, for he thought that if he took it away from him, they would no longer believe he was a prince. Besides, he did not feel sure he would get it back again. Well, give it to me, said the princess, and I will give you a kiss. The princess was certainly beautiful, and Anders would have liked to be kissed by her, but not for anything in the world that he could give up, and especially not the cap, for his mother had made it. He only shook his head. The princess filled his pockets with cakes and even put her own gold chain around his neck and bent down and kissed him. Now, will you give me the cap? She asked. But Anders only moved farther back in his chair and did not take his hands away from his head. Suddenly the doors flew open, and in a marble, the king with all his gentlemen stood with glittering uniforms and plumed hats. The king himself wore a purple mantle, which trailed behind him, and he had a large crown on his head with white, curly hair. He smiled when he saw Anders in his golden chair. That is a very fine cap you have, he said. So it is, replied Anders. Mother knit it for her very best man, and everyone who sees it tries to get it from me. But surely you'd like to change caps with me, said the king, raising his heavy crown from his head. Anders stayed quiet for a while, quiet as a mouse. He sat still as he could and held on to his red cap. But when the king came nearer to him with his gold crown between his hands, Anders grew frightened as never before. If he didn't watch out, the king might grab the cap, for a king can do whatever he likes. With one jump, Anders was out of his chair. He darted like an arrow through the beautiful halls, down the marble stairs, and across the yard. He twisted himself like an eel between the outstretched arms of the warriors and jumped like a rabbit over the soldiers' muskets. He ran so fast, the princess's necklace fell off of his neck, and the cakes jumped out of his pockets. But he still had his cap. No matter what else, he still had his cap. He clutched it with both hands as he rushed into his cottage. Well, Anders, where have you been? His mother asked. And so he climbed into her lap and told her all of his adventures and how everybody wanted his cap. His brother and sister stood around and listened with their mouths open. When his brothers heard that Anders was refused to trade his cap for the king's golden crown, he whistled and whooped. "No, weren't you foolish?" he exclaimed. "You could have sold that crown for a whole fortune in gold, bought a his arms around his mother's neck. "Mother," he asked, "was I foolish?" His mother hugged him close and kissed him. "No, my little son," she said. "You were dressed in silver and gold from top to toe. You cannot look any nicer than you do in your little red cap. It doesn't matter if you had all the gold in the world." Then Anders felt fine again. He knew well enough that a mother's cap